Interleague baseball continues tonight on a gorgeous Wednesday evening in Kansas City, Missouri. Rockies fell last night 3-2, trying to bounce back tonight, trying to snap a 3-game slide also and go to 1-1 on this 6-game road trip that will finish in Atlanta over the weekend. Ian Kennedy, a guy the Rockies are very familiar with, taking the mound tonight for Kansas City. He's in year 2 of a 5-year deal. Rockies, you can see him all the time when he was with Arizona. And of course, his greatest days in Arizona came in 2011 when he went 21-4 with a 2.88 ERA. Charlie Blackmon will lead things off naturally for the Rockies. Here's the Southwest batting order. The Rockies were stymied yesterday, had just 2 hits. One of them, the 2-run home run by Nolan in the 6th inning. That was their first hit of the ball game. Gerardo Parra's back in there. He'll be the DH tonight with that tight upper quad muscle where he got plunked by Chase Anderson. Reynolds, Gonzalez, Lucroy, Tapia, and Trevor Story round out the lineup. So Ian Kennedy is ready to go. Charlie Blackmon's ready to go. And you could not have asked, as I said a moment ago, for 2 better days than we have received here in Kansas City. Low humidity.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It is just perfect out. And the first pitch of the ball game from Kennedy is a little bit low, ball 1.
This is a really important game for the Rockies, for their offense, primarily to just break through. And on the other side for Ian Kennedy, it's his worst start. His last start against the Cleveland Indians only lasted 2 2/3 of an inning. Some people were kind of concerned about the velocity. There was a dip in it. Numbers for Ian, ERA over 5, but still a pitcher. 122 2/3 innings, 105 strikeouts, and still has that low whip.
You know, Spilly, as we look at his arsenal, he's sitting on 92. He's a 4-pitch mix guy, always has been. The thing that jumps out at you, 2 things. He had the 5+ ERA. He hasn't won here at home in over a year, but the league is hitting just 234 against him. And you say, what gives? That's one of the lower marks among starting pitchers in the American League.
Still looking at a pitcher that's given up 24 home runs. And when you're watching a guy like Ian Kennedy, he's been in the big leagues for a long time. So the stuff isn't quite as good as it used to be. He's having to learn how to pitch with the lower velocity now.
2-2. And Charlie's gone on a fastball up and away. So Kennedy strikes out Blackmon, and that'll bring up LeMahieu. Kansas City is very good defensively. That man has won several Gold Gloves. He's terrific at first base, and Eric Hosmer. They have a very good outfield, especially in left and center. Melky Cabrera doesn't run great in right, but Gordon's terrific in left. In fact, he could play center, the former 3rd baseman. Escobar and Merrifield up the middle. Mike Moustakas, Moose is at 3rd. And another guy with plenty of gold in his trophy room, Salvador Perez behind the plate. Fastball at the knees, a strike on LeMahieu. DJ has good numbers, 10 for 27, a 370 average lifetime against Kennedy. This should help the Rockies, you would think. No, Kennedy's been a very good pitcher. They have familiarity with him, which is not always the case when you cross over and play interleague ball games.
Well, Ian Kennedy, when he's at his best, he has a very good fastball. We saw it. He could throw it above the belt and then mixes in an excellent changeup. That's his best secondary pitch.
Good pitch on the outside corner. It's 1-2.
Last night we saw Danny Duffy pretty much dominate the Rockies lineup because of his ability to command the changeup.
And that's his 3rd pitch, and a lot of guys were talking about that today, that it was almost unexpected for a guy to be able to command his 3rd pitch and throw it as frequently as he did. Kind of changed the scouting report a little bit on him. Look at this. Against the Rockies, Ian Kennedy has a 3.03 lifetime ERA. He's made 22 starts. This is his 23rd. The only guys ahead of him who've made at least 15 starts, the Hall of Famer Randy Johnson, Tom Glavine, a Hall of Famer, a former Rocky, and Kevin Millwood, who had a fine career. And then 2 guys that may be destined for the Hall of Fame. Certainly Kershaw will get there, and Bumgarner is on that kind of arc as well right now. So a lot of big names on that list, and Ian Kennedy's in the middle of it. Rockies would like to alter those numbers a little bit this evening. And Duffy threw the ball well, and I think anytime a starting pitcher has success, he's ahead in the count. He was all of last night. And a breaking ball on the ground to Escobar. Well, Nolan Arenado hit the 2-run home run last night. He was very candid in the Rockies locker room after the ball game about their offensive woes.
We got to clean up some of these at-bats that we're having. I mean, it's just not good enough, and that's just what it is. We got to shorten up, and we got to be able to change. You know, we can't just be swinging for the fences the way it looks like we are. You know, we got to find a way to get on, and we're not doing that.
You could tell that Nolan was, you know, that's 10-15 minutes after the final outs recorded. He was very upset. Understandably so.
Understandably so. This is a good team. At least they, on paper right now, most people that look at the Rockies lineup, they go, wow, look at the names, look at the guys on this lineup. And as a collective whole, it's not one person.
No, and the
at-bats just haven't been there.
No, and it's not, you know, a bad week or that sort of thing. The Rockies are still in a good place, but they're aware of the fact that at one point they were 21 games above 500. This ball's clipped to left field. Did Nolan catch another one? To the wall is Gordon. See you later. He has done it again. Trying to put this team on his back. 1-0 Colorado. Home run number 29. He is amazing.
This is what the Rockies needed. They had to jump on. Nolan's been asking his teammates to have better at-bats, quality at-bats, and over the course of this season, he's given the team as many quality at-bats as anybody in baseball. You cannot throw fastballs into Nolan. And over the course of this season, 3- and 4-hole hitters have 10, make that 11 home runs and 20 RBIs against Ian Kennedy in 107 at-bats.
Last year he allowed 33 home runs. That's number 25. Parra's 4 for 8 lifetime with a home run against Kennedy. Guy he played with.
Fastball in. Nolan just drives the right shoulder. That's how he's able to keep the barrel in the zone for so long.
Also, Spilly, how much bat speed he has, because he didn't completely flush that.
Some kind of talent.
1 ball, 1 strike on Gerardo. Pinch hit and walked in the 9th inning. Pinch hit for Story last night. 1-2. Eight first-inning home runs for Nolan Arenado. Leads all of baseball with a .425 clip in the first inning.
Going back to Nolan telling his teammates, look, we can't continue to swing for the fences, and the numbers play out. When the Rockies don't hit a home run in a game, they're 10-34.
Good eye from Parra, 3-2.
Now, if the Rockies do hit a home run in the game, they're 58-23, and if they hit 2 or more, the number is pretty staggering, 37-5.
But you understand what he's saying is
you can't rely on it.
You just can't sit back and rely on it, especially in a ballpark like this. It does not relinquish a ton of home runs. He's just remarkable. You're watching and have the good fortune of watching night in and night out one of this generation's great players. This ball is pulled toward the gap in right center field, and Parra is going to have extra bases. 2 hops off the wall, and Gerardo with that sore leg cruises into second. with a 2-out double. Now 5 for 9 against his former teammate.
And the numbers have played out. The 3 and 4 hole hitters have given Ian Kennedy all the trouble in the world. Fastball up above the belt. Hard splits the gap against one of his old teammates. Now this is where it becomes important. This is where the Rockies have struggled lately. The 2-out runner in scoring position, get that extra base hit. And it doesn't have to be a home run. It can be a jam job single over the second baseman. That works.
Outside on Mark Reynolds, another former Diamondback.
And you know, for Ian Kennedy, after his last start, 2 2/3 of an inning, that Nolan jumping on the fastball for a homer, now Gerardo with the double. Confidence is slowly shaken.
Saw the breaking ball there fouled off by Reynolds, 1-1. He did not get many fastballs last night.
First at bat against Danny Duffy, 3 straight changeups.
On the swing, he got tied up, 1-2. I'm sure you felt that at times. You get yourself in that situation, you go, and you've already committed, and you realize, man, that thing's head high, and you get out of the way, but your bat crosses the plane.
I'm hoping that rule eventually changes. If a player's diving out of the way from a pitch coming at them, that it can't be called a check swing.
On the corner, strike 3. The Rockies get a run on a home run again by Nolan Arenado. A 1-0 start. And Antonio Senzatella getting ready to go on the Kauffman Stadium mound. Antonio has appeared 7 times now out of the bullpen, and he's done a really good job. The league hitting just 106 against him as a reliever, but tonight he's back to a job that he hopes to have for many, many years, and that is a member of this Rockies rotation.
And he will have that job for many, many years. When you look at the stuff for Antonio, we know it's primarily fastball. 75% of the time, it is relying on the fastball. But pay attention, the curveball, he broke that out 3 starts ago. Actually, 3 outings ago. And that's a pitch that is going to be important for him. It's the curveball that changes the eyesight, gives a little different look from the changeup and the slider. And more importantly, it's just a change in velocity. A slower variance between fastball and his slowest pitch.
Whit Merrifield's leading it off. He had a base hit and scored in the first inning yesterday. He was 1 for 4, robbed of a hit by Cargo last night on a great catch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Merrifield overall is 3 for his last 28. You could draw some comparisons with this kid and DJ LeMahieu in that when he was coming up, everybody had him as an extra. That is going to be a base hit. And he's entrenched himself as the starting second baseman, the leadoff man for the Royals. In fact, at one point in his career, he wasn't even, he was on the 40-man, and he was taken off the 40-man. So he plays with a chip on his shoulder.
After that last base hit, he totally reminded me of a certain player, Mark Gruzelanek. Remember, he played for the Kansas City Royals, the way he was running. I think he was numbered 15. Doug will have to check it out.
Yeah, former Expo. Here's the Southwest batting order for the Royals. Eric Hosmer, the big gun in the middle. In the 4-hole, Salvador Perez threw out a couple hits coming off the DL yesterday. The only change from last night, Jorge Bonifacio is DHing. You have speed to deal with in Merrifield. Lorenzo Cain at the plate. Merrifield stole a base in the first inning yesterday and would score on a pass ball. As that game, the complexion of that game unfolded. And then in your post-mortem, you lose a 1-run game, and that play became large. And even when it happened last night, Spill, you got the feeling that it was a really big run.
You could tell.
And Duffy was throwing the ball well. John Gray threw the ball well. 0-1 on Lorenzo Cain.
The bat always changes for a guy like Lorenzo Cain when Merrifield gets on base, because Merrifield this season is 23 out of 25 in stolen bases. Lorenzo took the very first pitch, a fastball right down the middle. If Witt wasn't on first base, that's probably a pitch that Lorenzo would fire at. But he's going to give his teammate an opportunity to try to steal a base. After you get to 1 strike, though, the hitters will not take for a base threat.
Off the plate, 1-1. Talking to Jonathan Lucroy before the ball game, and they are going to mix things up. Get Sensatella spinning the ball early in this game. It's a good fastball hitting club in Kansas City. Part of the process of growth at the big league level. Here's the whole arsenal. Hard tag by Mark Reynolds. That's how you apply a tag. 1 ball, 1 strike. That slider's off the plate. 2-1. That fine line when you have a speed guy at first, where too much of your focus can be removed from the hitter.
Antonio's trying to speed up his delivery, short step towards home plate, and when you're changing delivery times and trying to speed up your mechanics, the mechanics won't follow in line all the time.
On the ground to Nolan. There's 1, and on the first, a double play on Cain. 5-4-3 on that turn. Now the Rockies, as you know, all year long have played extraordinary defense. Sunday notwithstanding, when they committed 4 errors, had a bad day at the ballpark. Tapia is in left for Parra. Blackman and Cargo join him naturally in the outfield. And it's Arenado, Story, LeMahieu, and Reynolds with Lucroy doing the catching. You know, with Tapia playing left and Parra DHing, because Parra is a 2-time Gold Glove winner as an outfielder, it's the first time in Gerardo's career he's been a DH.
Really?
Yeah, isn't it something? There's a strike on Melky Cabrera.
I would have guessed that Parra at some point when he was in the American League would at least DH once.
That's poked through the left side, a base hit for Cabrera. Yeah, you would have thought somewhere along the line, but if you're a manager, you're saying, I don't want to take his glove off the field. That'll bring up Hosmer.
Spent a little time with Eric Hosmer today, and Hosmer was drafted in the first round by Kansas City out of high school. Now, Hosmer was tempted to go to Arizona State. If he would have gone to Arizona State in 2009, his teammates would have been Mike Leake, Jason Kipnis, and Austin Barnes.
Well, there's another guy who turned down Arizona State. We've told the story many times, that third baseman for the Rockies.
And that was their connection as well. Nolan and Eric together at the WBC this season really connected.
They would have been in a lot better shape than they currently are right now.
Yep.
Arizona State struggling. Hosmer takes inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's reached in 16 straight interleague games. Actually, 26 straight interleague games, 16 straight right now overall. That's down. 2 balls and a strike on Hosmer. Antonio's 1-1 in interleague play. And that's a pitch he's got to land. And again, Jonathan Lucroy having him double up on breaking balls. There's another slider. Balls and strikes tonight being called by Eric Cooper. Roberto Ortiz is at first, Lance Barksdale at second, and the crew chief, Dan Iasanya, is at third. Rockies up 1-0, and check on Cabrera at first. On the ground, and another ball through that left side. With 3 singles in the inning, Hosmer hit it almost in the same place Cabrera did. And that'll bring up Salvador Perez.
The Rockies have not been shifting as much this season. And with Eric Hosmer just splitting the defense on the left side, even with Nolan shaded as far off the third baseline as possible, the Rockies back-to-back at bats where the shift has hurt them.
Perez is single and a double last night. Drove in a run with a double to right center field. Curveball for a strike. When you throw the fastball, the scouting report 75% of the time you throw a first pitch breaking ball. It doesn't even have to be a great one, Spilly, because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to get a swing from out of the hitter.
Not at all, because that's what the guys are geared up for. You throw one, they go, all right, you just stole a strike from me. You throw one right after it. Now for the rest of the game, these guys are going to be looking for off-speed pitches, and that's where the savvy veteran behind the plate, Jonathan Lucroy, will use that information he gave them and use it against them.
2 strikes on Perez. Lucroy walks to the outside corner, and that slider leaked back over the plate. And in this sequence, he's ahead 0-2. He's thrown 3 sliders, and not one of them really has been sharp.
Perez is thinking to himself as a catcher too, I wouldn't call 4 straight sliders.
Well, he did, and he struck him out. How about that? Nice job by Senzatella. First and second for the Royals, and Senzatella strikes out Salvador Perez. 1-0, go to the second, Rockies. On AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by the 2017 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. And by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborgh's Mark Stout. We go to the top of the second inning. The Rockies leading 1-0 on a Nolan Arenado home run. Who would have thought of that? Here's Cargo, batting 6th tonight against Ian Kennedy. Pitches outside and high.
Cargo will tell you he does not like facing Ian Kennedy. Has 2 home runs in his career against him in 38 bats. But he's hit 132 against Ian Kennedy.
Cargo had a walk in the 9th inning yesterday, otherwise 0 for 3. The Rockies with 2 hits in the first inning, matching their total for 9 innings yesterday. 1-1. And Cargo hits this ball to deep left center field, and Kane will get back there and make the catch. Boy, he kind of lumbered toward the baseball, and he fooled me. I thought he had a play initially. Then the way he's going after it, I'm thinking, well, maybe he doesn't. But I guess he had it the whole way. Middle of the track, that ball carried.
Well, the way that Lorenzo is running, whether it's on the double play ball and just the route that he took, I'm with you, Drew. Doesn't look like Lorenzo has his good wheels underneath him tonight.
Lucroy takes a fastball up high. He was the 3rd toughest guy to strike out in baseball, Billy.
I'm going to have to guess Jonathan Lucroy.
Jonathan Lucroy, nice. Good job.
Why else would you bring it up?
And spit on that pitch. The Rockies completed that trade with Texas today for Jonathan Lucroy. Right, originally he was a player to be named later. Well, the player's been named. Pedro Gonzalez, who began the year as the Rockies' 14th overall prospect in their system, a 19-year-old who hails from the Dominican Republic. Grand Junction this year, he's hitting .321 with 3 home runs. So he'll go to Texas. 3 O's in there, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Lucroy hitting .344 over his last 10 ball games. Got an OPS in a Rockies uniform of .901. And had that fly ball triple down the right field line Cabrera laid out for. Gave the Rockies hope in the 9th inning yesterday. Heck, Melky was lying down for a while. Had he lied down for another like second and a half, you may have seen an inside the park home run.
Such a strange game last night. It really was. The way the ball was bouncing against the Rockies.
I got one for you. We talked about it at the time. Tapia is on deck.
Right.
How about the bunt that hit the wrong blade of grass? Here's Jonathan in the 9th inning last night.
Those are 2 strikes right down the right field line. Melky thinks it's foul. He turned around to look towards the umpire to see what the call was, and all of his teammates are screaming for him to go grab the baseball.
Another 3-2. And a good at bat from Lucroy. A 1-out walk. First issued tonight by the former Southern Cal star Ian Kennedy. That'll bring up Tapia. Fans, when the Rockies score 7 runs or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the following day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Live Mas at Taco Bell. Talking to Charlie Blackmon about this kid today. Charlie's been really impressed with several things that I think you recall as a veteran player looking at it, a young player. How do you come to work every day? How prepared are you? How focused are you? And all those boxes have been checked off. Rymel comes to play and compete each day.
It's really important as a young player, to your point, where look, there's not a lot of spots in the Rockies outfield to play. So you're going to get called up, you're going to get sent down, and to carry that approach with you to the minor leagues when you're going up and down, it shows the front office that you deserve to be in the major leagues. It shows the front office that you are a professional. It shows your teammates. When you go down there and you're finding out, it's like, how's Tapia doing? He's like, he's raking. He's still doing great. So that's awesome.
It's impressive, too, when a guy's been on that bus back and forth, right?
Call it the yo-yo. Major League yo-yo.
Another topic I visited with Charlie about today, and he's not for this, and that's the automated strike zone. It came up because Charlie last night got called out on a pitch that was off the plate. There's Jeff Bridich. Johnny Weil traveling with the club this week. But if you had that strike zone, that automated strike zone, then you have a guy like Tapia who hits out of a severe crouch once he gets to 2 strikes. And he's gone here. All of a sudden, I mean, does the computer adjust in the middle of the at-bat?
Yeah, I would have to. You would hope.
You would hope. 2 gone, and Trevor Story will come up batting 9th.
Well, I don't think Major League Baseball would ever unveil or use that type of technology if it wasn't perfected. If I'm going to see the automated strike zone, and I do not want to see it in the Major League level, you'd have to do it in the minor leagues for a couple of years to prove that it's even viable.
Trevor last night was 0 for 2 and a walk, couple of strikeouts. He's got himself in a hitter's count, 2-0.
We saw last night Trevor was in a hitter's count, expecting fastball, and the Royals just did not cave in to Trevor at all. The only time that Trevor saw fastball was with 2 strikes.
Where he'd really like it is down in the zone. There. This ball well hit center field. Kane going back. Is he going to run out of room? Nope, he makes the catch up against the wall. Two good catches by Kane in the inning. One going to his left, one going to his right. 1-0 Colorado, middle of 2. Arenado home run. They came close to hitting a couple home runs last inning. Carlos Gonzalez and Trevor Story. Lucroy was left aboard in that second inning. We go to the bottom of the second. Antonio Senzatella will face Mike Moustakas, Jorge Bonifacio, and Alcides Escobar. Moustakas, a stocky guy, 6 foot, about 230. Leading the club with 35 home runs. The Kansas City Royals record, set 30 years ago by Steve Balboni, hit 36. Steve Bye-Bye Balboni, one of the great nicknames in baseball over the last half century. Bye-Bye did it on that 85 team, that celebrated World Series team.
Did Balboni have a really sweet mustache too?
Yes.
God, I love Steve Balboni.
There's a former twin, Gary Gaetti, played the Royals also. For a short time, Gary's son was in the Rockies organization several years back. That's pulled foul. How good was Moose growing up in your state, California? He was a 2-time All-State player in high school, and in his high school career, he hit 52 home runs for Chatsworth, who won the 2004 Mythical High School National Championship. 52 home runs is a California state record for career, and that's a base hit.
So looking back at the 2 outs made at center field, caught by Lorenzo Cain, very good plays. The one cargo hit, exit velocity off the bat, 102 miles an hour. Traveled about 410 feet.
What was the launch angle?
Doesn't matter because it was an out.
Okay.
The next one, Trevor Story, hit one 101 miles an hour off the bat, caught about 409 feet away.
Yeah, and I was actually being serious about the launch angle because I guarantee you both of those balls, hit probability-wise, is above 50%.
So this is what I'm getting at. Mike Moustakas just had a base hit. Came off the bat at 71 miles an hour.
Baseball.
Nolan Arenado hit his home run 101 miles an hour off the bat, traveled 376 feet. That's why this game is maddening if you're a hitter.
Yeah, can be. 1 ball, 1 strike on Bonifacio. 24-year-old from Santo Domingo. Getting his first taste of big league baseball this year. Could get him to bite there. Another big, strong kid, 6'1", 220. Played in Omaha last year. I didn't realize this. Do you know Omaha's another one of those minor league teams? Always, the Omaha Royals, right? They changed their name. I think they're the Storm Chasers.
It's a beautiful stadium, too, that they built. Brand new stadium, I believe 4 years ago.
Charlie will move back a few strides. Moustakas goes halfway, 1 out. They don't play at TD Ameritrade.
No, they don't.
They have their own stadium.
And the old Omaha, they used to play in Rosenblatt. AAA was played in Rosenblatt.
Right. Creighton's home field is TD Ameritrade, which
yes,
which is where the College World Series now is played. And that park not only is beautiful, but it's really big, Spilly.
It's a big ballpark.
Big yard.
Told you I went to this because the Gauchos were in the College World Series.
That's right, you went up there.
Yeah.
In all your Gaucho gear.
Yeah.
Here's Escobar. How about this play last night by Nolan? Was this any good?
I guess if you like really good plays that you've never seen before.
And it's not even close.
That's like the equivalent of dunking from the free throw line. You don't see people do that.
Do you think if the fans, there's, you know, school's in session now, so it's a little less than 23,000 last night, and, you know, probably be a little bit better than that tonight. Anyhow, do you think the fans that don't get to see Nolan on a regular basis, if they had an MVP vote for the National League, would they not be writing his name in? So this guy's unbelievable.
This is the best player I've ever seen.
Hits home runs, breaks up no-hitters with home runs, makes indescribable plays on defense.
And the numbers bear it out. 2.45 assists per game for his career. It's the highest ever. I
like when we throw that
by a
term
third
out
baseman.
there. Ever.
It's never been done before.
1 and 2 on Escobar, and that's a base hit. Escobar had an 11-game hitting streak snapped last night. Comes back behind in the count and delivers a single. So now there's 2 aboard again. Just 1 out with Alex Gordon coming up.
A fastball just runs its way right back over the middle. Easy center cut fastball for Escobar to just drop the barrel on it.
Now it'll be the struggling Alex Gordon at the plate. 9 for his last 53. A 170 average. Gordon. Talking about Omaha, Nebraska. Alex Gordon is a huge star in Lincoln.
He's the 2nd overall pick in 2005 by the Royals.
And that's nowhere close.
But Alex Gordon originally was a third baseman. People thought that he was going to be the next George Brett. Pretty tough shadow to try to grow into. You're a young player, you have that level of expectation, especially from a city that loves its baseball in Kansas City.
Cargo in right. makes a leaping catch. He almost misjudged that, and that's going to allow Moustakas to tag and go to third.
Tell you what, that's a fantastic play for misjudging it, because this ball easily could have been a run-scoring double. It's twilight. At this time, just based on the way the clouds are setting, it's hard to pick up the baseball in the outfield, and that's what it was for Cargo. And that's the panic moment where your heart just drops to your stomach.
Yeah, I was going to say, that can't be a good feeling.
No, it's terrible.
Oh no, it's way over my head.
Now, if you jump and dive and miss it, maybe blooper reel type.
Now Senzatella, talk about those moments in a game. I understand it's the bottom of the second inning, but 2 outs, Merrifield at the plate. His second look at Senzatella, and that curveball's in there for a strike. These are the big outs. Merrifield a single on a ground ball up the middle last inning. Here's the 0-1, and a weak ground ball to short. Story comes and gets it, and he threw it away. That'll cost the Rockies a run. The airtight defense for the Rockies has been shaky the last few ball games.
That's a slow roller for Trevor that he has to charge, and Whit Merrifield runs extremely well.
But he still had him.
Still had him. He just loses his grip.
They've inexplicably given him a hit initially, which I don't agree with. They're calling it an error on Trevor for allowing Escobar to go to third. That's to me is a straight error, because a good throw, and even though Merrifield, as you said, runs well, he's still going to get him. You can see on the video, get him by a step and a half. Now Lorenzo Cain in a 1-1 game. And if you ask Trevor after the game, he'll tell you that that's a throw he's going to make 99% of the time.
And with that play for Trevor, that's not one where you still have time to set your feet. That's a throwing on the run, but there was maybe another half step in there for him to gather. Here's the play on the Subaru Supermo. As Trevor's rushing up to grab it. Tell you're watching the ball and trickle out of his fingertips.
One-0 on Cain, and that misses. 2-0. Yeah, the Subaru strike zone. The first pitch perhaps missed by Eric Cooper. Cain in final year of his deal, be a free agent at the end of this season, hitting .382 this August, .292 overall. And this could be a tough play. Fortunately, that second hop didn't take an even bigger arc to it. Story gets to the bag, but we're tied at 1 going to the third.
Called here as the Rockies come to hit here in the third. Ian Desmond is going to go out on a rehab tomorrow. And let's talk about our UC Health Rocky routine. That's what happens. You get injured in baseball, and then you got a rehab. Third stint on the DL. That calf strain. He's been there since July 28th. Looking good. He'll be in Albuquerque at this time tomorrow. And Bud Black gave us more on Ian Desmond.
You'll get some at-bats tomorrow with the Isotopes. Probably play again on Friday night. Those two games, we'll evaluate where he is. More than likely, he'll play another game as well. So he's ready to go out and get ready to join us.
So Drew and Spilly, let's hope that that's sooner rather than later.
High fly ball from Blackman, Mark, to deep right, near the fence, near the wall, gone, just enough. Charlie Blackman has given the Rockies their lead back over Melky Cabrera's head. Home run number 30, a new career high for Charlie, and a milestone in another way. In 14 at-bats at the K, that's his first hit.
That'll be Charlie. You're going to get a hit, might as well make it a homer. After giving up an unearned run last inning, Charlie answers right back. 30 home runs from Charlie Blackman. This is a guy that was a fourth outfielder. He's made himself into an elite player at the major league level at an age where you don't see guys turn themselves into these type of players.
Elite. Another way you can describe it is he's one of the game's best players. 30 home runs out of the leadoff spot. That's been accomplished only 15 times in Major League history. 0-2 on LeMahieu. And DJ, I don't know how he got to that baseball. Talk about hand-eye coordination. Up the middle, a base hit on a hanging breaking ball. So the first two batters in that dynamic top of the lineup for the Rockies have reached. And here comes Nolan. Outside, ball one. Kennedy has to be thinking every time I hear a loud sound, ball's going 400 feet. 26 home runs allowed. And again, 33 last year. Kennedy has not won in this ballpark in more than a year. That's hard to fathom for any pitcher who's taking the ball every fifth day, particularly one of his pedigree. Ian Kennedy's had himself a really fine career.
You see Trevor still shaking his head, knowing that error hurt him, hurt the team. But luckily his teammate sitting right next to him, Charlie. Sorry, man, I got you.
If you're Trevor, the term that's used so frequently in baseball is grinding. You never know. A play shows up later in the ball game that you have a chance to get it back, so to speak.
And for Trevor, Trevor's been having a Gold Glove caliber season at shortstop.
Certainly has. 3-1 on Arenado. Kennedy being really careful. And that's ball four. He wanted no part of, understandably so, Nolan Arenado. Now the Rockies have 2 on, nobody out for Gerardo Parra, who boomed a double to deep center field his first time up, and is 5 for 9 lifetime against Kennedy. Fans joining on the conversation tonight and every night. Send us your questions, photos, statements on Twitter or Instagram, maybe even jokes at AT&T Sportsnet RM, and don't forget to use the hashtag Toyota Talk.
You want jokes?
If they're good ones.
Like that's a slippery slope.
Can be. But then they won't get on the air. Moustakas in on the grass at third. And that's a called strike.
Gerardo Parra, not your typical cleanup hitter, but in 21 games for the Rockies this season in that spot, he's hitting .368 with 3 homers, 19 RBIs.
Batting average in interleague play. Look who's on top of the charts. It's Gerardo. It's hard to outdo that guy who's third on the list in any category these days, Jose Altuve. That's inside, 2-1. DJ at second base, hitting .354 his past 50 games. There's only one guy in baseball who's hitting higher. Guess who? Jose Altuve. Altuve's actually, over his last 50 games, hit over 400.
I don't think anybody will ever eclipse that mark, 400, or at least not to where in this day and age where we'll see it. But Altuve's as close as you possibly could get.
3-1. I know we reference this a lot, Spilly. You think back to last year with Parra and how much of it, he's always going to be a free swinger, but how many pitches this year that he's let go, spit on in the baseball vernacular, that he would have fired out a year ago. He would not be in a 3-1 count last year in this sequence.
I felt like he went months without a walk last year.
Because he did. 3-2. Speaking of walks, Nolan with that last walk has now reached by a walk in 7 straight games, which is a career high for him. Rockies up 2-1 on the Blackmon home run. 2 on and nobody out. (3-2).
Last year, Gerardo had 9 walks in 368 at bats. This year, you talk about a huge jump, 15 walks in 277 at bats. Baby stuff.
But he's gotten himself in much better counts, being selective. And unfortunately, this is going to be a double play. 6-4-3. LeMahieu to third. That'll bring up Reynolds. Well, that's exactly what Kennedy was hoping for, and he got it. Now let's see if Mark Reynolds can come through with 2 outs. Struck out looking at a fastball in the outside corner in the first. That's an interesting thought. You say, why would Mark do that? Well, it's 2 outs, and Moustakas is 110 feet away. And if he gets that on the ground on the left side, he's going to have a hit. Sure, unless Kennedy made a miraculous play, he's going to drive in the run.
Got to find a way to score the run, and I like it. That's what. Start thinking outside the box here if you're the Rockies.
Rockies, after the loss last night, 10-13 all time against the Royals, just 2-7 here in Kansas City. Buddy Black's old stomping grounds in the mid-late 80s. Three and one. According to the Subaru strike zone, it nicked the bottom portion. Two and two on Mark.
Reynolds has been one of the better Rockies this season with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, .346 average.
The Rockies have gaudy numbers, runners in scoring position, just not so much of late. And the Rockies get the lead back on a home run by Charlie Blackmon. They were hoping for more when they put the next two guys on. Number 30 for Blackmon, a new career high. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by the Lodge Casino, your first choice for fun. Off behind the bushes there to the right, you can see the home of the Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium. Two facilities connected underneath by a tunnel in the parking lot here in Kansas City. Melky Cabrera in the third inning. Eric Hosmer, Salvador Perez. First pitch in there, strike one on Cabrera. 3 hits in the first, 3 hits in the second for Kansas City. Rockies up 2-1. Hit 2 solo home runs. This is on the ground to Mark Reynolds, 1 out. And that'll bring up the first baseman for Kansas City, Eric Hosmer. One of your favorite subjects, especially when it comes to the analytics, is the first and second situation. No matter where you are in the lineup, you really like when teams bunt.
Yeah, because it's 67% scoring opportunity. 67% of the time you score at least a run. And in the first and second, nobody out, your run expectancy is 1.45. Now, it's all good, but as a hitter, it's one of the hardest situations to hit in. So I prefer it when a team bunts because it's the only time out of all the run expectancies, out of all the different numbers that are out there, where a bunt giving up an out increases the chance to score. It's the only one.
Yeah, and it seems when you're struggling offensively, you see the double play more frequently, as we saw last inning. And when things are rolling, you see a ball in the gap, and you don't think about the bunt anymore, right?
This is how it works out.
Yeah, it seems that way. 2 balls and a strike on Eric Hosmer. Hosmer had a base hit through the left side in the first inning. Royals have been a little bit better at home than out on the road. They're 34-29 at home. Overall 63-61. It's inside 3-1. BJ on the outfield grass in right. That fastball at 97. That overwhelmed Eric Hosmer.
Looks like Eric Cooper got something in the eye on the swing.
Three and 2 on Hosmer. Boy, that was a good pitch. That was one of the better sliders he's thrown. Threw that on the outside corner.
And it's hit a 3-2. Eric Hosmer looking fastball, and there it is on the back door. Caught him off guard.
And that's too tall. A 1-out walk to Hosmer, and that'll bring up the catcher Salvador Perez.
Register today for the opportunity to purchase single game tickets to potential 2017 Rockies postseason games at Coors Field. Go to Rockies.com/postseason to sign up and check out all the information.
Ball 1 on Perez. He struck out on a slider his first time. .21 home runs for Perez. His career high set last year, 22, and that misses badly. It's 2-0. Sensatella's thrown more sliders tonight than he did in, I guarantee you, in the first several starts that he made back in April. Really trying to mix up his arsenal. Ramon Marquez will go tomorrow afternoon. And the Rockies complete this 3-game set with Kansas City. The only interleague games left for the Rockies after that is when they return home next week. They'll take on the Tigers. Brad Ausmus. There's Ramon. Next to Tyler Anderson and Alexi Amarista.
I do like the mix and pitches that you're alluding to with Senzatella, making sure that he's throwing more off-speed pitches. And Jonathan Lucroy told us, said this Royals team's a good fastball hitting team.
That's pulled foul.
Royals came into this game with the 6th best average against fastballs over 94 miles an hour. They hit 276 as a collective unit.
That's another reason you got to keep him off that fastball. Ned Yost. 2-2, and he got him again on a breaking pitch that backed up. That slider backed up, and it struck out Perez. 2 outs in the 3rd. Little story of interest in Pittsburgh. Rich Hill took a perfect game into the 9th inning in this storybook Dodger regular season of 2017. And Jordy Mercer hit a ground ball to third that was not handled by Logan Forsythe, who's really normally a second baseman. So the no-hitter is still intact, but the perfect game is gone. And now there are 2 outs in the 9th inning there. And this should be an easy play. Story to Reynolds, and Moustakas is retired. We'll go to the 4th inning here in Kansas City. The Rockies ahead 2-1 on a pair of solo home runs, Arenado and Blackmon. Note on that Pittsburgh Dodger game, there's no score.
Exactly.
In the 9th.
Yeah, Dodgers can't win it.
Here's Cargo. He flew out to the wall in center his first time, and he takes high, ball 1. Rockies up 2-1. Home run in the first from Nolan with 2 outs. A leadoff home run in the 3rd for the home run leader on the Rockies, Charlie Blackmon. He hit his 30th. Nolan hit his 29th. 2-0 on Cargo. Base runners every inning for the Rockies against Kennedy. 3-0. Lucroy will be next, 6, 7, and 8. Then it's Raimel Tapia. Kennedy last year, in his first year in a Royals uniform, 11-11 with a good ERA, 3.68. 3-1. Cargo swings through that fastball, and Kennedy comes all the way back for his 5th strikeout. Now you can watch your favorite Isotope stars in the big leagues with the Colorado Rockies. AT&T Sportsnet is your home for Rockies baseball all season long and is available on most cable and satellite packages. Visit AT&TSportsnet.com for channel information. Lucroy walked with 1 out in the 2nd. Never traversed any further than that in the second inning. And here he is with one out in the fourth inning. Takes a strike. And Lucroy loops this one into the upper deck on the right field side. Second time Jonathan's been in Kansas City this summer. The Rangers did play their lone series against the Royals when Jonathan was still playing for Texas. Moustakis. And then with two gone, that'll bring up Raimel Tapia.
Really is a beautiful ballpark here in Kansas City. The water, very intimate. Crowd feels like it's very bunched up, very close. It's loud. It's like Arrowhead Stadium. I still would love to catch a football game at Arrowhead.
A lot of fun. Great fans in Kansas City. Similar to what we have with the Broncos. They are very passionate. 1-2-3 inning for Kennedy, his first of the ball game. Middle of four, the Rockies leading 2-1 at Kauffman Stadium. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning, bottom third of the order for Kansas City. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborgh's Mark Stout. Rockies lost a one-run affair last night, 3-2. Trying to break out offensively. They've had really only two big games offensively the last couple of weeks. That 17-run game clearly, an 8-run game a few days back as well. In their last 15 games, 12 times they've scored 4 runs or less. In many of those games, it was 3 runs or less. Breaking pitch misses. Ball one on Jorge Bonifacio. He had a fly ball to center his first time. And it's 2-0.
You always have stretches like that in baseball where not everybody's clicking on the same cylinders. The starting pitching has been excellent of late.
Didn't give in. He went breaking ball again. It's 3-0 on Bonifacio.
You'd love to have a stretch of baseball, especially with 38 games left, where everything's clicking. Rockies won't tell you straight outright, but losing 10 of the last 14 games and having a lead in the wild card from 7 to 3 can put a team on edge.
Leadoff single for Bonifacio, the 7th hit of the ball game for Kansas City. Well, it's still 0-0. They're going extra innings. Rich Hill, 9 innings of no-hit baseball, thrown only 95 pitches. So there's
no way.
Every likelihood that he'll be
there's no
out
way
there
he's
for
going
the
out there.
10th.
No way.
I think he will.
Dave Roberts did this last year. I believe it was in Miami, where he pulled Rich Hill out of a game when he had a no-hitter.
He also did it with Ross Stripling. But Stripling, younger pitcher. One attempt fouled off by Escobar. 13 times a pitcher has lost a no-hitter in extra innings. The last being the Hall of Famer Pedro Martinez back in June of 1995. He took a perfect game into the 10th and gave up a hit in the 10th. I remember that. Vaguely, but I do remember it. Ball and a strike. Slowly hit. That's a really nice play, and the Rockies almost turned it over. That was bang bang at first. Escobar got up the line. Very impressive fielding play by Senzatella.
And Story with the turn. DJ was pointing immediately to the dugout to have this play checked out. Senzatella ranging to his left. It's a tricky play. There's English on the baseball. He reaches back, makes a good throw on the run. Trevor puts enough on it to make it close at first.
He just beat it.
I'm not listening to DJ anymore. He made me think he was out at first.
Do you know, watching it live, I thought he was out, but we were both wrong.
Yeah, you can see on the Subaru Supermo that he was safe.
Gordon. Boy, that's a really good double play. 3, 6, 3. That's a heck of a double play. Nice catch by Story around the bag. 2-1 Rockies.
Why is like kissing your sister, then losing must be like kissing your grandmother with her teeth out. That's a George Brett quote. The number 5, of course, is retired here. George Brett was actually in the Rockies clubhouse today. Want to show you some footage. He was with his friend and former teammate, Buddy Black. They were just there in the manager's office, chit-chatting, talking baseball. And be sure to tune into the club. You will not want to miss that conversation. And another thing, guys, I was talking about how we're comparing Nolan a little bit to George Brett. And I know it's early, and I mentioned that to one of the fans that was sitting over me at the beginning of the game. And he goes to me, just straight-faced, see me in about 10 years.
Cool. Did you get their number? So you can go see him in 10 years?
I didn't, but I was saying he's got a pretty good start right here to, I know he's not George Brett, but I wouldn't doubt it if Nolan gets to that point that Brett was. We're hoping anyway.
Here's another strike. It's 0-2 on Story. Remember thinking back to a story that was told by Clint Hurdle when people want to throw around superlatives, and you can throw around superlatives with Nolan because he's a freak show. This is a hard ground ball up the middle, a base hit for Trevor Story, behind in the count, a leadoff single for Trevor. But Clint said, and I agree with him, that you want to know what? You know when you become great? Be good year after year, and then all of a sudden you look back and you're great. And he's on the trajectory of becoming one of the greatest to ever play. That's a trajectory right now. He's off to a phenomenal start. It's not 1 year, 2 years, now 4 or 5 years of that. So it's certainly not inconceivable. I know some people like, oh, you can't ever mention one of the all-timers with a current player. Why not? There are guys in this era who are going to become all-timers. And right now, I'd put my money on number 28 being an all-timer. Feel really safe with that bet. Charlie, who had a home run his last time up, squares around, draws Moustakas in. Third inning. This is home run number 30 for Blackmon, and it gave the Rockies the 2-1 lead they enjoy now.
Just think about this. With that home run, he becomes the first National League leadoff hitter to get 30 home runs since Hanley Ramirez did it in 2008.
Back up the middle, a base hit. And now you have your situation with DJ up. And I would be somewhat surprised if he didn't adopt what you like to do here and lay down a bunt.
Because, all right, DJ lays down a bunt. You go first and second, you move him up, you give up the out. You know they're going to walk Nolan, so you're giving up an out to get a bases loaded situation with 1 out. And I feel pretty good with Gerardo Parra and Mark Reynolds following suit.
That's 54 multi-hit games for Charlie Blackmon now. The club record held by Dante Bichette at 66. One of many records that are getting knocked down this year by Charlie Blackmon. That one potentially could go down. Squared around, pulled the bat back. It's 1-0. Both corners crashing hard, and Hosmer at first and Moustakas at third.
And for DJ, it's just about putting the bunt down. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no surprises here. Set the barrel, you bunt towards third base.
Good speed on board with Trevor Story and Charlie Blackmon. Ryan Buchter now up in the Kansas City pen. Line drive off the glove of Hosmer. That'll be a hit. Story stopped at third by Stu Cole. That was an absolute missile. And it goes off the top of the glove of Hosmer. Bases full of Rockies. 3 straight singles. And now they've got one better.
And now you
took the butt off and they have the bases loaded, nobody out.
Eric Hosmer's lucky he didn't lose a tooth. Watch where this baseball goes, right at his face.
And now Dave Island at the mound saying, hey, this guy 28, they're comparing him to a young George Brett.
Good luck. And it's not just us. It's not just hyperbole from us, from people around baseball. Spending some time with Eric Hosmer. Hosmer was with Nolan on that WBC team and said, look, the best player on our team, on the WBC team with guys like Buster Posey and Giancarlo Stanton, was Nolan.
And Nolan did not have a great WBC.
No.
But they still recognized his talent. So here we go. The Rockies, a chance to expand their lead. They're up 2-1. And Nolan swings through that fastball. It's 0-1. Here's what Nolan did in the first. His 29th home run of the year. Into the Royals bullpen. And Nolan will have to work out of an 0-2 count now.
These situations for Nolan in his last 41 at bats with runners in scoring position. He's hit .561.
I was going to say, what does he have, like 38 hits?
23.
Crazy. .02. Kennedy threw his best fastball there. We've seen a lot of 92s, a couple 93s. That was 94.
But that's where Nolan was talking about when we played the sound earlier about him saying, hey, look, we got to shorten up the swings. It's not about home runs. Nolan had an opportunity in the first inning in a hitter's count to take a good swing. That was a short swing, 94 above the belt.
And he got him on a slider, 1 out. That's a big strikeout for Kennedy.
Kennedy went after Nolan this entire bat, jumped ahead of him early. One of the few sliders that Ian is located down and away from a righty. He's able to get Nolan to punch out.
So now Parra and Gerardo, a double, and he grounded into a 6-4-3 double play in the third. Again, one of those moments in a ball game. They don't all come in the 8th or 9th inning. Seven hits for the Rockies. Good speed, good base runners aboard. One strike delivery to Gerardo. 1-1. Rockies have led the league, led both leagues in hitting with runners in scoring position. May, June, July, just terrific, but they have dropped off in August.
Just need one hit. One hit opens the floodgates.
This will get a run home. Story and Blackman moves up. LeMahieu moves up. So Parra makes it 3-1 with his 60th RBI of the year. A sac fly to left.
Our leads the Rockies with sac flies in 7 now. Very good handling the bat, making sure he gets a pitch up that he can handle and put it in the outfield to get that run without a hit.
Reynolds trying to counterpunch against Kennedy, who has struck him out twice. Boy, a 2-out knock here would be large, to say the least. And that's a strike, 1-1. Parra with that last RBI has tied his career high, set back in 2009 when he was a rookie with Arizona. Those 60 ribs. Yeah, he's been great situationally. Good eye from Reynolds. 3-1. See a pattern? Ball 4. So the bases are loaded again, and Cargo will have an opportunity against Ian Kennedy. And again, you look at the breakdown of this game as Ned Yost is going to go and get a left-hander to face Cargo. But you look at the breakdown of this game. Virtually all of the damage has been done with the first 4 hitters. And now it's an opportunity for that middle portion extended in the lineup to help out the cause. 3-1 Colorado as Ian Kennedy walks off. Is loaded, 2 outs. Ryan Buchter will face Cargo in a moment, but we want to show you how that game ended in Pittsburgh. You will not believe it. Josh Harrison leading off. Rich Hill has a no-hitter going. This is the 10th inning. Look at Curtis Granderson. He did not make the catch. Great effort by the 36-year-old. Josh Harrison breaks up the no-no and wins the game in the 10th inning. First time since Pedro Martinez in '95 that a pitcher went to extra innings with a no-hitter. In fact, he had a perfect game in the 9th inning, but Logan Forsythe made an error at 3rd. What a ball game. That's about the only way you can beat the Dodgers now, I guess, huh?
It's insane.
All right, here's Cargo. 1 for 7 lifetime against Buchter. Takes ball 1.
Buchter was traded from the San Diego Padres along with Brandon Maurer and Trevor Cahill right before the trade deadline, and he's done pretty well for the Kansas City Royals. His numbers are combined between Kansas City and San Diego. Hard-throwing lefty with a good slider.
And Cargo pops this ball up. Easy play in short right for Merrifield. That'll end the inning. The Rockies loaded the bases twice. They get only 1 run on the sac fly by Parra, but they do lead 3-1. The Coors Light Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. Kansas City has more than 200 working fountains. It is said the only city in the world with more fountains is Rome. In 1992, Kansas City added the City of Fountains to the official city seal, and you do see them everywhere. We stay in the plaza area of Kansas City, and it's a beautiful section of town, and of course there are fountains everywhere at this ballpark, which was significantly renovated in 2009. More than $250 million were put into the ballpark. It's spectacular, and you almost forget that the park originally opened in April of 1973. It now seats just under 38,000. It used to seat almost 41,000, so they made it a little bit smaller, removing seats and adding, among other things, the Royals Hall of Fame out in left field. Talking to Darren Holmes before the ball game, and Darren had not been here since 1998 when he was still playing, and he was blown away by the beauty of Kauffman Stadium. And again, you would think this is a park that's, you know, just a handful of years old. A leadoff single for Merrifield. He's 3 for 3. Senzatella has dealt with traffic every inning. He does not have a 1-2-3 inning. He's had double play behind him last inning, which helped out. And the other note about the hits is they've all been singles, fortunately. Here's Lorenzo Cain. He is without a hit so far. He grounded into a 5-4-3 in the first inning. Rockies had an opportunity last inning really to expand the lead. Bases loaded, nobody out. And you hope for more than one, but that's all the Rockies could muster.
Well, if I was to add those two situations, first and second, nobody out, run expectancy 1.45 runs typically, and this is based on all of Major League Baseball. It's a league average. And if I was to add the run expectancy for bases loaded, nobody out, 2.3 runs. So let's say we add them together. I'm not great at math, but it's close to 4 runs on the board that we're on average, Major League average, you expect to score 4 runs. The Rockies only scored 1.
And they had the right guys up. The first guy up was a guy everybody would pick in baseball, leading ribby man in the sport in Nolan. And Kennedy pitched him well, got ahead 0-2 and then struck him out on a slider. Down the line, that's fair. Merrifield is being waved home. He's going to score, and it's a 1-run game. And now the tying run at second. Nobody out. '41st RBI for Cain.
Third at bat now for Cain against Senzatella. Had Cain ground into a double play in the first inning. This ball just barely getting over the bag.
Former Royals bullpen coach Steve Foster going to the mound. Now the Rockies pitching coach. It's unusual when you're on defense, Billy, to come off the field after the other team scores and feel like maybe you got the momentum out of the deal.
You just want to, it's a game of momentum for the Royals because the Rockies hadn't scored as many as they could have. They felt like they've dodged a bullet, several tonight.
Melky Cabrera's 1 for 2. Pitches in. Senzatella has thrown quite a few sliders in this ball game. Gonna have to do some pitching here to keep the Rockies in front. Two strikeouts in the game for Senzatella, both Salvador Perez. And Senzatella gets 1 out.
That's a huge play for Senzatella because that ball goes past him. Even though DJ or Trevor probably makes the play at first, that would move Lorenzo Cain up to third base with 1 out. Good job filling your position and helping in the run prevention. Now it gives the Rockies a chance to avoid a situation where the Royals could have answered back and scored a run.
Tough out at the plate in Hosmer. A single and a walk, second in the American League in hits to Altuve. Altuve's got 171 coming into tonight's action. Hosmer has 150. First pitch is in there for a strike. Jose Abreu recently hit his 25th home run, 4 straight years of at least 25 home runs for Abreu since coming from Cuba. Outside.
Eric Hosmer has a connection to Cuba as well. I mentioned Jose Abreu, his mother, Hosmer's mother, migrated from Cuba to Pittsburgh with her family when she was a young girl.
Here's the 1-1 on Hosmer, and that's inside. 2-1.
His family and his mother ended up becoming a nurse in Florida, where she met Mike Hosmer, Eric's dad, who's a firefighter. His life has it, they met at a hospital.
Well, if you're a nurse, that's, appropriate, right? Let that go foul, and Senzatella did. Hosmer's doing that thing, hitting the ball off the plate again, right?
I don't think he wants to do that.
Probably not. Worked out for him last night. Eric Hosmer has the highest average in Major League Baseball on pitches up in the zone and pitches away in the zone.
They're saying don't pitch him up and away.
Well, no, I'm saying both categories, up and then separately on pitches away. Had a terrific year. 2-2. That pitch was away. 3-2. Senzatella, again, hasn't made a start in a couple weeks, and he went 86 pitches 2 weeks ago. So he's not super stretched out, and he has pitched most of this ball game out of the stretch, high stress pitches. You know that Buddy wants to get him through that 5th inning, but hopefully preserving a 1-run lead. Fastball at 97. And if you're Senzatella, whatever's left in the tank, you got to let it eat right here. Chris Russin's been up for a while now.
Let's see what Jonathan Lucroy goes to.
Breaking ball. And Story throws out Hosmer. Now they're 2 outs. Kane at 3rd. It'll come down to the matchup between Senzatella and Perez, of which Senza has won the first 2. Both times he struck him out on sliders.
And I love what Jonathan Lucroy's doing right there. He's telling him exactly what he expects from him. Make sure you're on the same page. That way there's not a lot of shaking going on. And Senzatella has his confidence. He knows, all right, Lucroy wants to go to here, to here, to here. And I can throw behind that.
And Perez chops out one foul. It's 0-1. Three-2 Colorado, 2 outs. On the ground to short. Boy, that is some good pitching right there by Senzatella. He gave up a run. He had the tying run at second with nobody out in Kane, and he worked out of it. Nice job, Antonio.
Because you're watching, if you get to Kansas City, you need to visit the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. There's Rube Foster, who in 1920 started the first Negro League at the YMCA around 18th and Vine in downtown Kansas City. And on Monday, a Rockies contingent, including Ian Desmond, you see, and DJ LeMahieu visited. This is Bob Kendrick. He's the president. And DJ got his legacy award. That's the Buck Leonard Award for being the National League hitting champ from last year. I even talked to DJ. It was a 45-minute or so tour, and he said, man, that really impacted me, just about culture, about society, about baseball, about Jackie Robinson. It was a great Monday, guys.
Yeah, and Ian has been there a number of times and thoroughly enjoys every opportunity to see the Negro League Hall of Fame. And as you said, Mark, it is a must. It's a must on the to-do list if you're in the Kansas City area. 1 ball, 1 strike. I had the pleasure many years ago when he was still with us to meet Buck O'Neil. Did you ever meet Buck O'Neil?
Never had an opportunity to meet him.
Tremendous ambassador for baseball and walking encyclopedia on the old Negro Leagues. That's a strike. 1-2 on Jonathan Lucroy. Still Ryan Buchter out there. Lucroy, Tapia, and Story in the 6th. The Rockies clinging to a 3-2 lead. Two and 2 on Lucroy. Well, Ian Kennedy won't win tonight, obviously. That's now 16 straight starts at home, which is the new franchise record.
Dubious record.
Yeah, that's not one you want to hold. The most consecutive games without a win at home for his team.
Anthony Young?
You'd think it would be Anthony Young, who just unfortunately passed away recently. And he couldn't win with the Mets. And during that period of time, he had like a 3-something ERA. They just didn't score for him. But Matt Keogh with the A's in 78-79 went 20 straight starts without a victory. Matt Keogh was a good pitcher. 3 and 2. Three, 2 on Lucroy. Padres got rid of a couple of relievers, but their biggest name reliever everybody thought was going to be on the trade block never moved, and that was Brad Hand. Merrifield with a nice backhand throws out Lucroy. 1 out. Tapia coming up. He's 0 for 2.
The first 10,000 fans through the gates for the August 29th Rockies Tigers game will receive a coupon for a Hebrew National $1 hot dog. I feel like Whit Merrifield's everywhere. That could be Whit Merrifield.
Used to be. Moustakas shortens up with Tapia, and that pitch misses ball 1. Tapia hitting .361 this year in the PCL for Albuquerque, 3rd best average in the Pacific Coast League. Ryan McMahon leads the PCL at .385. Gordon in left, 2 outs.
Trevor's hit the ball hard tonight. Fly ball to center field, 101 miles an hour off the bat. His last at bat. Last inning of the 5th inning, started off the rally. A nice single up the middle with 2 strikes. Moustakas well off of third base. We've seen Trevor go for the drag bunt at times.
I don't like that here with 2 outs, though.
Just because you have Charlie Blackmon on deck, left on left. I want to see base runners.
Just even though it's been a rough year for Trevor, he still has 18 home runs. And as you said, tonight, twice he's put the fat part of the bat on the ball. Does it again, gets one elevated. Maybe he's trotting around the bases, right?
Well, and Trevor's beat up lefties this year. 301 batting average, 8 homers, 93 at bats.
Here's the 1-1. 2-1. One other note on the news of the night in sports, certainly in baseball. Rich Hill loses a perfect game in the 9th, but takes a no-hitter to the 10th. And Josh Harrison, in a zip-zip game, hits a walk-off home run, leading off the 10th. That's the first time it has ever happened in Major League history, where
a broken no-hitter is the only hit.
And it was a walk-off home run. It's never happened before.
In extra innings. Yeah, see, that's why baseball's great.
Why you show up every night, you never know what you're going to see.
Something historic.
3-1 on Story. It's out of play.
It's like Charlie with his 30th home run of the season. It's a career high for him. It's also the first time we've seen a leadoff hitter since 2008 get to that number. It's cool.
You knew Charlie was going to have a big night.
Why?
Because he went 0 for 4 last night. He hadn't had consecutive hitless games since June 13th and 14th.
Come on.
Well over 2 months ago. Just doesn't happen. You know how you say in baseball, everybody's going to have their 1 for 15s? I don't think that cat's had one. Dougie just reminded me he started the year 2 for 18. Rockies almost sent him out.
Good thing they didn't.
Ball 4. Good at bat for Story, and Chuck Nasty will hit here with 2 outs and Story at first. Well, some of the records that were within reach are within reach for Charlie this year. Team records. He needs 26 runs to eclipse the all-time record of runs scored in a season by Larry Walker in his MVP campaign of '97. Bichette has the team record for hits, 219 in '98. Total bases, Walker at 409 in '97. You get 400 total bases in a year. That's historic. And then the triples deal, he's one shy of tying Dexter Fowler. Dex had 15 back in 2011. Charlie's fans travel well. Chuck Nasty is my homeboy. That lady on the left, one of our great Rockies fans. We see her all the time at home. We see her periodically in road games. At road games. Here's the 0-1. That's Elise, and she's got a lot of clothing with purple in it.
Sparkly Hat Girl is her Twitter handle. She often sends us questions and comments during the game. She was also part of charity effort in Boulder, raise money for breast cancer. I believe this year their charity raised over $60,000.
Tremendous. 2 strikes on Charlie. 2 hits tonight, including that home run in the 3rd. Is it possible for Charlie to produce from the leadoff spot? Would they ever move him back in the lineup? I didn't understand the first part, but I guess the question is, would the Rockies ever move him down into a more traditional RBI spot?
No.
Why mess with a really good thing, a really unique thing? That's my way of thinking.
Well, and the other way of thinking, too, is a leadoff hitter over the course of a season will get more at-bats than anybody in the lineup. For comparison's sake, Charlie, compared to Nolan, where he hits in the lineup, gets about 45 to 50 more at-bats. So I'm pretty happy with Charlie Blackmon getting as many at-bats as possible.
Charlie keeps this AB alive. And right now, Charlie has 26 more at-bats with well over a month to go in the season than Nolan. Blackmon last year set the record for ribbies in the leadoff spot. He's going to break it this year. He has 4 of the 5 top marks all time. Why would you take something that's extraordinary and move when you have people who can occupy those spots right now? It's really unique.
It really is. That's why, and that's part of the new age of metrics and analytics when you're looking at it and trying to construct a lineup, is if you can have a hitter like Charlie that meets some of the criteria of a leadoff hitter where he can steal a base, right? Good on-base percentage. But then the new age is somebody that has pop, so they can drive in a run with 2 outs.
Well, here's something else that's within reach. We're just showing you the Rockies records that are within reach. If he hits 10 home runs, which, you know, we've seen him go off. Obviously, he's got 30 right now. He'd take a great finish, but the all-time record for home runs by a leadoff hitter is Alfonso Soriano, 39, with the Nationals back in '06. Brady Anderson, who hit 50, I heard you Spilly asking Doug in the background, with the Orioles back when he played with Huey. He wasn't always hitting in the leadoff spot. They did move him around. Charlie camping out at the plate. Buchter on the hill, another 1-2, and Charlie fouls this one off.
Buchter was smiling after that last pitch and hopping around on the mound, trying to figure out, all right, how do I get this guy out? Charlie's no smiles at all. All business on the baseball field.
And down the line, foul. Charlie broke his bat.
And this is why we love Doug Marino. He's the best. Dougie is the best because we were asking about Brady Anderson, and he quickly hands me a note that says 35 of the 50 home runs that Brady Anderson hit that year came out of the leadoff spot.
The other 15 did not. Had a baby, Dougie. Way to go. Take a day off tomorrow, right? Taking 4 off. Not going to Hot Atlanta with us. Doing a little Bronco football. A lot of people don't know Dougie produces the Broncos preseason games.
Very well produced.
Absolutely. 1-2. Story takes off. This is punch to left for a base hit. Story is going to end up at third. Charlie wins that battle on pitch number 10 against Ryan Buchter. And with 2 outs, the Rockies have LeMahieu coming up and a chance to expand their lead.
Just like that again, Charlie has a 3-hit night, and Ned Yost is coming out with the hook. Do not move Charlie from the leadoff spot. Talk about a battle. There wasn't one quality swing over the last 6 pitches for Charlie, but as we've seen throughout tonight, putting the ball in play is important.
Rockies up 3-2. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Rockies up 3-2. They've had numerous opportunities to score tonight, and they have another one here with 2 outs. DJ LeMahieu coming up. And Peter Moylan, who's the traffic cop for Kansas City. He's really the guy that Ned Yost trusts the most to come in mid-inning with people on base. Did it last night successfully. He'll come from down under in more ways than one. Slider. Peter, third in innings pitched all time by a native of Australia. Here's the 0-1 on DJ.
Only 12 of 53 of the inherited runners have come around to score against Peter Moylan. And for a period of time with the Royals this year, from June 27th to August 6th, his 19 games, he did not allow an earned run. He's given up 4 earned runs in the last 6 games.
Base hit center field, make it 4-2. Blackman will stop at second. DJ LeMahieu coming through. He's got a 3-hit ball game. Said it so many times, those guys at the top of the order, ton of pressure to produce. Blackman and LeMahieu are combined 6 for 8, and Nolan, who's coming up, has a home run and a walk tonight.
Well, I just love the quality of bats, starting with Trevor. It's a walk with 2 outs. Then Charlie's great at bat, and then DJ gets a pitch he can handle. The slider away from him, where DJ's so good and just fires one into center field.
Nolan holds up on that slider. You know, he's been frothing at the mouth the last 20 minutes since he struck out with the bases loaded in the 3rd. Actually, in the 5th. Well, the two guys that had really scuffled historically with Kansas City, not that the Rockies play the Royals that much, but DJ coming into the ball game was 3 for 26 career-wise against the Royals. He has 3 hits tonight. Charlie was 3 for 23 coming into today against the Royals. He has 3 hits. Outside, 2-1. Told you earlier that Blackmon had never had a hit here before hitting the home run in the 3rd. Get back. Out. And Charlie thinks he may have gotten his hand back in.
Let's hope so, because you do not want to get picked off with Nolan at the plate. They're going to look at it
immediately.
Told you Whit Merrifield's everywhere.
It looks like Charlie got the left hand back in.
Lance Barksdale, the second base umpire tonight.
Charlie did a little swim technique there, showing his athletic versatility.
Showing the panic mode baseball player. That's basically, please don't get picked off at second.
Yeah,
with 2 outs.
not with 2 outs. Nolan at the plate. That would not be good.
Fans reacting at Kauffman Stadium on the Jumbotron. They're watching it in slow motion as well.
No tag.
Whit Merrifield.
Can we slow that down one more time? Because I want to see if he nicked him before the real tag.
Well, take a look at the strings on the glove. See the string on the glove, if it touches him, which it might have.
I don't know if you can tell if it touched. See, he's got his hand on the bag there. I don't know if you can.
Surprisingly, the strings on the glove are part of the glove and count.
They do count. When you have a glove made, you can actually have longer strings on there. That's what's good. The bad thing, as we always go to in this scenario for the Rockies, is that the call wasn't safe. The call was out. Now you have to make sure that there's a preponderance of evidence that he was safe. And if they can't tell with the strings, then you can't overrule what was called on the field.
I mean, it does for a second look like the strings at the top of his hand. Right there, that's...
Yeah, the actual tag looks like it came after he got his fingertips back on the bag. That's what they're trying to determine. They're trying to determine if the strings got him.
Call him safe for fun.
Nope. That's a tough one. You have Nolan at the plate with 2 on. Charlie knows better. But the Rockies do get a run on the LeMahieu base hit. Here's our CenturyLink high-speed challenge question. As always, go to AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to cast your vote. And of course, during the Twitter post-game show, you'll learn of the results. Do you like the one-game wildcard playoff? Pretty simple. Yes or no? It's a Game 7 scenario, which the one side of me that doesn't like it is, man, you play 162, you earn the right to go to the postseason, and you can be done in one 9-inning affair, one bad outing. The other part of it is it's high drama, man. You know it's all or nothing after 6 months of playing games every day virtually.
Well, people remember 2007 for Game 163, and it goes down as one of the favorite games I've ever played in. And to give that to baseball and baseball fans year in, year out, I love it. It's great.
Chris Russin takes over after 5 innings of Antonio Senzatella. Mike Moustakas takes a cutter for a strike, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Bottom of the 6th inning at the K, as Royals fans call Kauffman Stadium. Well, they've had some great players go through here. Some of the obvious ones, obviously, George Brett, Frank White, Brett Saberhagen. And they've also had one of the greatest modern athletes of all time in team sports go through here in Bo Jackson.
Every kid that I went to elementary and junior high with had the Bo Jackson poster, probably next to the Michael Jordan poster where he has his arm stretched out with the 2 basketballs in each hand. But Bo wearing the shoulder pads with the bat.
Well, I asked Buddy about when Bo ran up the wall, and he remembers that. It was like a cartoon. He saw the number 10 that is retired here in Kansas City. That of their late manager Dick Hauser, who won a world championship for in '85. This is fouled off. It is why Buddy Black is wearing number 10 with the Rockies. Thought so highly of Dick Hauser. And there's a statue of the field manager for the Royals in the '80s. Died way too young. And another footnote about Buddy Black returning to Kansas City. When he was with the Padres for all those years as their skipper, they never played in Kansas City. So the first game that Buddy's ever managed in Kansas City was last night.
Buddy was number 20. That was his normal managerial number. Had it with the Padres. Was scheduled to have it with the Rockies, but Ian Desmond signed, and Ian wanted number 20.
Cargo, plenty of room, 1 out.
.2 innings pitched now for Chris Russin. Leads all major league relievers. If you look at different values, I know it's hard to look at different values, but relief values, Chris Russin ranks near the tops in baseball in those WAR categories. In fact, he's higher up on that list than Greg Holland.
Billy, this is Jorge Bonifacio. A base hit his last time up. Also a fly ball to center field. DH in tonight, and grab that fair. Nice job by Lucroy. 2 outs. On the Road is brought to you by Lazy Days RV. The Rockies trip will continue Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Atlanta. Tomorrow's day ball game will not be televised as the Rockies conclude this set against the Royals. And in Atlanta, they're going to see Billy, the same 3 pitchers they saw when the Braves were in town, of course, it was a 4-game set. They're going to see Tehran. They're going to see Rutherford.
And Fultonevich.
And they're going to see hard-throwing Mike Fultonevich, who the Rockies chased early. On the outside corner, strike one on the shortstop Escobar. The Royals won yesterday 3-2 against the Rockies. That snapped a 7-game losing streak against the National League. Let's give you periodic updates. The American League still leading the National League, though it's been closer this year. Last time the National League won the season series against the AL was 2003. Spilly was a sophomore at Santa Barbara High.
No, I was in college. It's actually in the minor league system.
That's a strike. 136, 129.
It's close.
The National League's within striking distance.
I like to look back to the trade that brought Alcides Escobar over to Kansas City. He was originally with Milwaukee along with Lorenzo Cain.
And he has a base hit to right.
So the Kansas City Royals traded Zach Greinke and Yuniesky Betancourt along with Jake Odorizzi to the Brewers, and talk about pretty monumental change landscape-wise for the Royals by adding Lorenzo Cain and Escobar. Escobar won an AL MVP in the championship series in 2015 when they went on to win the World Series.
Here's Alex Gordon, and he rolls this one toward the dugout. Salvador Perez made the play, saved his teammates. He has a perpetual smile on his face.
I love him.
Yeah, he loves coming to the yard.
I'm not sure I like the wig that he has on tonight.
That's not his natural hair color?
He gets a lot of sun.
Inside, 1-1. Rockies up 4-2. Single runs in the first, third, fifth, and sixth. And a rollover ground ball. There's been a lot of that for Alex Gordon. DJ makes the play, and we move to the 7th inning. 4-2 Rockies. All right, Jenny, thanks. Nolan at the plate, continuing that at bat. Peter Moylan remains in the ball game. Nolan, a home run back in the first, is 29th. He walked and then he struck out with the bases loaded. 1 for 2. Sliders in there. And Nolan with an excuse me swing. Let's go back. Here's the slide by Nolan, and they reviewed this and they said that Nolan was out. It took him a while, but they upheld the call. Charlie was out. They upheld the call on the field. And I want to correct something that we said. They changed the rule on laces before the start of last year because it became controversial. The laces are no longer part of the glove on a tag play. So they had to basically, and we'll get an email soon, determine that they didn't feel there was enough evidence that Charlie touched the bag before the actual tag was applied. And that's why they upheld what took place on the field. Moylan thought he had struck out Arenado. That was the case, though, up till before last year. Again, I remember there was a famous play where the laces, long laces, got the guy. And they ultimately changed it. 2-2. And Nolan's gone. And again, this replay was upheld because the replay umpires in New York could not definitively determine that the fielder failed to tag the runner prior to the runner touching second base, so the call stood. Gerardo Parra, a double in the first, grounded into a double play in the third with runners at first and second, and then had a sac fly in the fifth for his 60th RBI, which ties his career best. Parra glaring back at Eric Cooper. Really? And that is going to be gloved by Merrifield. Good pick by Hosmer. 2 outs.
The Rockies and AT&T Sportsnet will host a Bonfils blood drive next Monday from 12 to 4:30 p.m. at Coors Field. For more information on how to sign up, visit bonfils.org.
Reynolds 0 for 2 and a walk.
Rockies need to continue to add, even though it could have a bigger number for the Rockies. As Jenny mentioned, Arizona losing tonight, the Brewers losing tonight.
The Rockies had opportunities to have a more comfortable lead. They're 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. There's the wild card standings. The Rockies can hang on. They can seesaw back in front of Arizona. This team, despite the fact that they're a couple games below 500 in the second half, remains confident. They know that they're a good baseball team, and they know at the level they're capable of playing and consistently playing as they did for a good portion of that first half. You don't get 21 games over 500 by accident.
No. I've often been asked, what is it like facing a sidearm pitcher? What's an approach? Have to look for a ball up. Look for a fastball. You have to understand the inside part of the plate. That's the sidearm pitcher's bread and butter.
Herrick Cooper thought that was strike 3. 3-2. He gave his strike 3 call. But you look at that and you go, how in the heck do you lift that, Spilly, right? Well, Moylan strikes out Reynolds. He works at 1-2-3-7. We will stretch in Kansas City. The Rockies 4 and the Royals 2.
Baseball Museum, it opened up in 1990. Ian Desmond has been there, as Drew said, on a number of occasions, and here's what he gets out of it.
I think it just recharges my batteries, you know, every year. It's like it's something you kind of have to experience. Maybe it's different for you know, African American athlete. I don't know, but I think anybody I've ever been here with, you know, pretty much does the same thing. It's a special place.
You know, Drew, you mentioned earlier Buck O'Neil. Buck O'Neil is from Ian's hometown of Sarasota, Florida, and that, of course, sits with him. He knew that, and he just talks about going there and getting recharged. And guess what? He's going to begin that process back to the Rockies tomorrow when he goes on a rehab assignment with the Isotopes in Albuquerque.
Yeah, it'll be good to. I know it'll be good for Ian to get him playing again and get him back in a Rockies uniform as soon as possible. Pat Neshek's on the mound now. The leadoff hitter, Whit Merrifield, who's 3 for 3 tonight. And then it'll be Lorenzo Cain and Melky Cabrera. 7th inning, and he's now 4 for 4.
Told you he's everywhere. Numbers for Neshek on the season, all-star type. 49 innings pitched, the low whip. And I've said this over and over about Neshek. What he brings to the table is a fastball slider combination where he's throwing it over 40% of the time each pitch. There's only a handful of relievers in Major League Baseball that throw the slider and fastball at that high of a rate.
Lorenzo Cain doubled in a run in the 5th down the third base line, 1 for 3. Top relief ERAs this year. Neshek on that list. 1 ball, 1 strike. This is Pat's 13th appearance now in a Rockies uniform. Good pitch. He's still settling in with Colorado. New environment. With Philadelphia, the league hit .219 against him. They're hitting .297 off him in a Colorado uniform.
He's also had a lot of weak contact.
Yeah. He's had some bad luck.
Been BABIP.
1-2, and Cain with an awkward swing. 1 out. That'll bring up the switch hitter Melky Cabrera, and we'd like to say hello again. Hello.
Hello.
Is that it?
That's
how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hey, when was the last time you were in Kansas City? When you were playing, huh?
Last time was, I think, 2008. It had to be 2008 because that's when Greinke won the Cy Young that year. I love coming here. Love coming to Kansas City. I'm going to go Negro Leagues Hall of Fame tomorrow.
Perfect. That a baby. You know what? I may join you, in fact.
And, not that anybody really cares, but since I have this platform, 2 weeks of not eating any meat. Tomorrow, I'm going barbecue.
Stacy put you on a diet, didn't she?
It wasn't. It was a chance to just eat some greens for 2 weeks, and I felt great. I do feel great.
How were the fried avocado that you ate late last night?
Didn't go fried.
Runner going, throw to second, and Merrifield swipes second base. That's his 24th stolen base this year.
Big jump from Whit Merrifield. He was timing Neshek. See, he was already moving before Neshek even started towards home plate. It's a good player, Merrifield. 2 days, you just appreciate the type of athlete he is, what he brings to the table, the quality of the bats.
You know, he hasn't done it nearly as long as DJ, so I'm not going to put him in DJ LeMahieu's class, but I will make this comparison. I alluded to this earlier. He's chip on the shoulder guy. And that's the kind of guy you want.
Yeah, that's the perfect guy to be.
Yep.
You want to have a chip on the shoulder.
1-1 on Melky Cabrera in his second tour of duty with the Royals. Former Yankee. Melky famously was suspended for 80 games back in 2012 for involvement with PEDs. 3-1.
There's the Milkmen. They're supporters of Melky, and that's almost the beauty of baseball.
It's pretty funny
that a guy like Melky, who cheated the game, but came back, was contrite about it, had his second opportunity, and people appreciate the effort he's put since then. The Milkman.
Swung on and missed. Big strikeout by Neshek. He was behind 3-1, and he comes back and fans Cabrera. And now with Hosmer coming up, here's number 10 coming out of the dugout, Buddy Black. Big pitch.
Huge pitch, using the slider. Caught Melky off guard. Show the milkman. See if they're happy about it.
2 outs in the 7th. 4-2 Rockies. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Say yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by the Wyoming Office of Tourism. Wyoming is full of adventure. It's time to find out if you are too. That's why TravelWyoming.com. We've traveled to Kansas City. And the Rockies in the middle game of a 3-game set, trying to even up this series at 1 apiece. They're up 4-2, 2 outs. Whit Merrifield's at second base. Jake McGee is on to face the cleanup man, all-star Eric Hosmer. Jake making his 48th appearance. Lefty's hitting .231. Righty's actually even lower than that. Hosmer, left on left this year, is at .294.
McGee has not seen action in about 5 games. Through an inning against Milwaukee. Had 2 strikeouts. Gave up a hit.
Big swing and a miss at 94. That's low at 93. 1 ball, 1 strike. Eric Cooper looked at it for a while and then said it's a strike, and on the Subaru strike zone it did catch the outside corner. Hosmer kind of grinned because it took him a while to indicate that it was a strike. 1/1000, 2/1000, yeah, it's a strike.
Oh, he's making sure he doesn't do his punch out on 2 strikes.
Right. Great pitch by McGee. 1-2, trying to make 1 more on Hosmer. Being a catcher is a difficult deal, and especially then you get the bullpens and different movement. Guys got throwing guys fastballs in the mid to upper 90s, and you have to beat the pitch to the spot. And of course it's moving, and sometimes it does something a little different than it did the previous time. Cuts a little bit. Pitcher gets off to the side on one. Got to have soft hands and quick hands. 2-2. Jake doing that a little bit more second half of the year. Throwing up the curveball here and there.
We've seen it from a lot of Rockies pitchers this season, going to the curveball. Mike Dunn has broke out a curveball this year. We mentioned at the start of the game, Antonio Senzatella has started to throw a curveball. John Gray of late has added the curveball.
Now, Senza in 5 innings threw more breaking balls than we've seen him at any time this year. And he pitched with a lot of traffic, but he pitched out of jams, ultimately gave up just 2 runs. This is fought off to left field, and it's going to drop and score a run. Now that stolen base looms large. It's 4-3. 70th RBI for Hosmer.
Tapia in left field is playing no doubles with Eric Hosmer, so this pitch, even though it beats Hosmer up and in with the fastball, Tapia is deep.
Here's Sal Perez, the catcher. That's foul. For bats against McGee for Perez. 12 hits on the night for Kansas City. 11 singles and 1 double. That was the Kane double in the 5th. Perez hurt his hand or his wrist. He dropped the bat and he didn't immediately pick it up. Sometimes that's indicative that a guy hurt his hand. Kind of weird, huh, Spilly?
I mean, catchers probably deal with more day-to-day injuries than anybody. Yeah, he just straight dropped the bat and grimaced. Throughout the night, Perez is taking some awkward swings. He's found himself on one knee after swings several times.
Jake could get a chase there. It's 1-2. That run is charged to Pat Neshek. It's 2-2.
You want to look in baseball at one of the biggest steals as far as contracts go. Salvador Perez's contract has to rank up there as one of the best.
3-2 now.
He signed a 5-year deal in 2012. He was pre-arbitration for $7 million, which is a lot of money. I get that. But this is, if you're looking at WAR values, again, one WAR is worth about $8 million, and over the course of Salvador's career has far exceeded that 5-year contract by a lot.
Well, we discussed this yesterday. They're going to have a busy offseason, a lot of decisions to make because several of their key players are impending free agents. Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas.
So here's a number. Signed 5 years, $7 million. And if I base it on WAR, $8 million for one WAR, he's played for $126 million worth of value.
Ground ball to first, diving stop made by Reynolds. That'll end the inning. But in the bottom half of the 7th, the Royals creep closer on a base hit by Hosmer. It's 4-3. Of Greenwood Village look back. In the first, Nolan with 2 outs hit a home run. It's his 29th home run of the year. And then Charlie in a 1-1 game would hit his 30th of the year. And the Rockies were up 4-2 moments ago. Eric Hosmer jam shot to left that bounced in front of Tapia. And Whit Merrifield comes around. 4-3 as we go to the 8th inning. And the guy who got his first career save last night, Scott Alexander, remember he inherited the 2-0 count on Pat Valleca when Kelvin Herrera couldn't continue. A little tightness in his forearm. And he got a ground out to end the ball game with the Rockies in a position not only to tie it, but to take the lead. So Alexander's on for the 40th time this year. Kind of been up and down in terms of how he's performed. He'll get Cargo initially, then it's Lucroy and Tapia. Cargo tonight, deep fly ball to center, a strikeout and a pop out. 0 for 3. And Cargo trying to bunt his way on, didn't make contact. It's 0-1. Four runs, 9 hits, and an error on the Rockies. 3 runs, 12 hits, no errors on Kansas City. Rockies have left 7 on. The Royals have left 8 on. Oh, 2.
The Royals have had a leadoff runner on 5 different times tonight. The Rockies have only had a leadoff hitter on once.
And they won't have the leadoff runner on here in the 8th. 3 of the last 4 hitters have struck out. And that'll bring up Lucroy. Jonathan's 0 for 2 and a walk. Senzatella's on the plus side. Ian Kennedy, pitcher of record, on the losing side right now. 1 strike on Lucroy.
The first 4,000 fans through the gates on Sunday, September 3rd, who donate new or gently used books will receive a discounted Rockies ticket voucher for select games in September, courtesy of the UPS store.
Two strikes on Lucroy, battling against Scott Alexander. And a called strike 3 at the very top of the strike zone, according to Eric Cooper, and it was in the Subaru strike zone. There are 2 outs.
It looks like a cutter up in the zone, and Salvador Perez receives it well, pulls it down. Pretty amazing for Alexander last night. It's the 13th time in Royals history for a player to get a save with 2 pitches or less.
Unusual circumstances. Yeah, I give him credit because he's watching the ball game. He's a spectator at that point. Herrera's going to finish it. He's not coming in. Next thing you know is he's in a ball game, and it's not a situation where, okay, there's 2 outs and there's nobody on, or maybe there's a guy at first. Bases loaded, it's a 2-0 count. He has to fire the next pitch for a strike. Valleca's taking, he did. And then he ultimately got a ground ball to short. That's going to be an easy play at short for Escobar. Rockies went in order in the 7th. They just went in order in the 8th, clinging to a 4-3 lead. Take a look at our Kubota pitching performance tonight. Antonio Senzatella, after being out of the rotation for a couple weeks, back in there. Dealt with a lot of traffic tonight. There were 10 base runners in 5 innings, but to his credit, only 2 scored. Antonio got tough with traffic. 5 innings, 9 hits, a couple strikeouts, 1 walk. He continues to look on as Jake McGee will continue to pitch. Bottom of the 8th inning, it's Mike Moustakas, Jorge Bonifacio, and Alcides Escobar. 4-3 Colorado. And a fastball zips over the outside corner. Strike 1 on Mike Moustakas. 2nd pick in the draft back in 2007. 1-1. Former Padre Brandon Mauer's throwing in the bullpen for San Diego. How about for the Royals? Center field playable for Blackman. Hit toward right center, 1 out.
Well, Moustakas came up lame right before he was rounding first base. Off the bat, I thought maybe he had a chance to get it. Home run. Watch right about here. We'll pay attention to that if he goes out to third base next inning.
Jorge Bonifacio, single back in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. 1-0. Moustakas has pretty significant limp as he goes down toward the Royals clubhouse. One and one. Jamie Quirk, who was longtime bench coach for Clint Hurdle, and of course a Royal.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, Q. We hear from him periodically. Jamie's managing for his 2nd year in the Royals system in A-ball. He's an advanced A-ball in the Carolina League. The Wilmington Blue Rocks. Nothing better than minor league names. We were talking about that earlier.
Baby cakes are my favorite.
Baby cakes are up there. I'm with you. Their low A affiliate in the Sally League, same league as the Rockies have Asheville. They have the Lexington Legends. And I love the Asheville's nickname, the Tourists, because Western Carolina, where they are, Asheville's a beautiful town. A lot of tourists go through there, so that's their nickname. 2-2. Center field. Charlie going back. And once again, he'll have room. 2 outs.
Donate it to center field. Center field tonight is where baseball is going to die. Rockies baseball is always live with the MLB.com at Bat mobile app. Stay connected all season for video highlights, stats, news, and more.
2 outs, nobody on. Alcides Escobar, 2 for 3 tonight. And strike 1. Ball and a strike. The Rockies in the top of the 9th. Offensively, will have Story, Blackman, and LeMahieu. Anybody gets on, Nolan will hit. 4-3 Colorado. Here's the 1-1, and this is lifted towards Carr going right. Good inning for McGee. So we'll go to the 9th. The Rockies leading by a run, trying to add on. Thank you. First thing we'll tell you is Mike Moustakas, limp and all, is at third base for the Royals, as Trevor Story is going to lead things off for Colorado, up 4-3. And a guy the Rockies know a little bit, Brandon Maurer, with his first pitch at 97, misses. Now Maurer, those are the numbers overall this year. In a Royals uniform, it hasn't been pretty. In 12 games, 10 2/3 innings, he's given up 9 runs on 18 hits. He's also, Spilly, walked 7 in 10 2/3. With the Padres, the league hit .257 against him. So far, since joining the Royals, the opposition hitting .367 against him. And Trevor be taken here. It's 3-0. And that's outside. A 4-pitch walk to Story. And now you have a guy who can run aboard, as the Rockies will try to give the former Royal Greg Holland a little wiggle room.
Rockies need to add a run this inning, and with Trevor on base, expect the ball in the dirt for him to just take advantage of it. May not steal initially with Charlie because you'd like to give the hole with Eric Hosmer holding on Trevor Story at first, see if he can pull. Charlie's a pull ball hitter.
Got 3 hits tonight, including a home run on the pull side.
Charlie has faced Maurer several times. He's 1 for 8, 2 strikeouts against him. And for Trevor tonight, 4 quality at bats for him. He had a quality at bat every single time.
And Trevor, if that is his final at bat of the night, will snap a stretch of 24 straight games with a strikeout. The major league record was recently set by Aaron Judge, 37 in a row. Snapped last night. That's a changeup, 1 and 2. The Rockies' record all-time, Brad Hopp struck out in 26 straight games back in the World Series run of '07. Story actually had a streak last year, 24 in a row, also with the punch out.
If you're Trevor, you're looking for expecting a pitch in the dirt and take your chance. It's difficult for a catcher as good as Salvador Perez is behind the plate to body up, find the baseball, and make an accurate throw.
Good running count, 1-2, not going, and this is going to be a relatively easy play for Kane. Trevor's going to tag, and he's in there. Hold on to the bag, safe. Is he okay?
Let's hope he didn't hurt his shoulder hanging onto the bag.
Is it me, or are we just paying more attention to it? Does it seem like more guys, it's almost like there's ice out there where more guys fly by bags than used to be the case?
Feels like it. Trevor heads up baseball. He knows that for Lorenzo Cain in center field, that's a long throw.
Well, that's awkward. Stayed on there. So the Rockies will have 2 swipes at driving in a 5th run. DJ drove in a run in his last at bat. He has 3 hits and 4 at bats tonight. And then you have Arenado behind him. And it's been all about the top portion of the lineup for the Rockies. 3 hits for Blackmon, 3 hits for LeMahieu, home run from Nolan. It's a strike, a double, and a sac fly for Parra. The rest of the lineup has 1 hit, and that was Trevor's single in the 5th inning. They do have 4 walks. Reynolds has 1, Lucroy has 1, and Story has 2. Trevor's been on 3 times. Ground ball to short. And 2 outs. 2 outs, Arenado approaching. Who Wants Tacos fans, follow us at AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies do score 7 in a ball game. 4-3 Rockies. Greg Holland will see Alex Gordon. And then the top of the order, Whit Merrifield, who's 4 for 4, and Lorenzo Cain, who's 1 for 4. Nolan trying to drive in his 109th. One and one. The Royals have had to overcome, like Miami, great tragedy this year in the offseason. They, I think many of you are aware, lost bright young star in Yordano Ventura, car accident in January in his native Dominican Republic. This ball's hit well to center field. Cain's got a long way to go, and he will get there right in front of the wall. Third catch he's made tonight, running with his back to home plate. So the Rockies fail to score in the top of the ninth. The former Royal Greg Holland will try to close it out when we come back to KC. You knew it would come down to this, didn't you? Greg Holland trying to do what he did on so many occasions for Kansas City. In fact, 145 times he got to shake hands, getting the last few outs. All-time favorite here in Kansas City, part of one of the great bullpens we've seen the last 10-15 years. That Royals bullpen in 14 and 15. So Greg, who leads all of baseball with 35 saves this year in a Rockies uniform, will try to get his former mates, beginning with Alex Gordon, who's 0 for 3. Rockies shift 3 to the right side, and the first pitch is fouled off. 4-3 Colorado. Introduced to the crowd before the ball game yesterday, and he got a really warm reception, as he should. Well, that came close to hitting Gordon, that slider.
Bit of a struggle for Holland since June the 15th. 20 innings pitched, he's allowed 13 earned runs.
1-1, and it's 1-2.
Here's the slider the Royals fans became so accustomed to. Gordon missed that pitch by a good foot.
On the ground, fair, nope, foul. Now Roberto Ortiz was right on the line. He went to one knee, eyeballed it, and said foul ball. Been a tough August, as you know, for Greg, but says has nothing to do with fatigue. He's just missed on a pitch or two, he feels, each outing. Hung a couple sliders that have been punished. Had that 0-2 pitch that
hit Keon Broxton.
Keon Broxton, who struggled with everything away, and they came in on him. Too far in. 2-2. And now it's 3-2.
I'm sure there's some butterflies, even though Greg Holland, I don't think, feels any. There's got to be some extra there's some extra motivation coming back here tonight on a mound where he's so familiar with it.
(3-2) and he misses and walks Gordon. That'll bring up Merrifield, who's had quite a night. He's 4 for 4. All singles.
See if Witt will try to put down a bunt.
Here's a strike. Nolan didn't think so. Nolan stayed even with the bag.
The guy's 4 for 4. He's been the best player on the field for the last 2 nights, other than Nolan.
Swung on and missed. It's 0-2. Greg has done this usually in most outings. He just did it a moment ago. He got ahead of Alex Gordon 1 and 2, couldn't put him away. That was against his former teammate, who has just had a rough year, hitting below 200. This kid's hitting above 280. 0-2 on Merrifield, and it's fouled off.
And it makes it 5 straight appearances for Holland with the walk.
Nail-biting time. Two strikes on Merrifield.
Oof.
That just missed. Merrifield reacted like it was going to hit him. It wasn't that far inside.
Right inside of that Subaru strike zone. 3 of the pitches, and then that 4th pitch just missing. Eric Cooper, good eye watching that into the zone.
1-2. Holland early on was getting a lot of chases on that slider. The guys just didn't pick it up. They were swinging at balls that never even reached the catcher's glove. They had such great late downward movement on it. 1-2. Left field, long run for Tapia, and he'll get there. Nice running catch by Rymel. And Gordon has to go back to first base. Off the bat, I thought that was a problem. That's a good running catch by a young kid who can run.
That's a great play by Tapia. Merrifield's walking back to the dugout. He was staring down Tapia like, how'd you get to this baseball? Good jump for Tapia, ranging to his right.
You know, it's interesting because Tapia's reputation in the minor leagues was that of a good outfielder. And he's had some issues this year at the big league level. Some of his routes haven't been clean. Some of his jumps haven't been clean. But fortunately there, he was outstanding. Now it's Lorenzo Cain with 1 out. Double in 4 trips. 1-0. And that catches the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Greg would love to get back on track. It would be appropriate for it to come against his old club. 4-3 Colorado. Cain, line drive toward Cargo. He's there, 2 outs.
One more out away for Greg Holland. It'll be his chance to earn his first save at Kauffman Stadium since September 8th, 2015.
Melky Cabrera is the hitter. Cabrera, a single in the first, couple of ground outs and a strikeout since then. Holland 35 out of 38. Tied for the major league lead in saves. First pitch to Cabrera. How do you not swing at that?
He was fooled by it. Just missing the Subaru strike zone.
That was well located. 1-1. Senzatella trying to push him to the finish line.
Good slider at the bottom of the zone. You can tell when Greg gets his good slider, he'll fall off hard towards the first base side.
Greg's done a good job varying his times to the plate also. Gordon is a good base runner. He's an occasional base stealer. Two balls and a strike on Cabrera. Outfield straight up, infield straight up. Here's the 2-1. That's a base hit to left. And now the tying run at second and the winning run at first with Eric Hosmer coming up.
A lot of hits opposite field tonight from the Kansas City Royals. Melky gets a pitch up that he can handle right past Nolan. Of course, it comes down to these two teammates.
Hosmer tonight, 2 for 3 and a walk. He drove in a run with a single in the 7th. It was a bloop single to left. Well, if Ned Yost could handpick one guy to take this at bat, it would be Eric Hosmer. First and second, 2 outs, 4-3 Colorado. And that's in the dirt, 1-0. And that's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Curveball right at the top of the zone, evidently. 1-1. Seeing the Subaru strike zone, it just did get the upper portion. Greg Holland so good in April and May. In fact, he was the National League reliever of the month in both April and May. Trying to get back to that level here in August after a rough start. 1-1. This ball crushed to right's got to turn foul. It did not. 3-run walk-off home run, Eric Hosmer. Not the return to Kansas City Greg Holland wanted. That one is most painful, and the woes of Greg Holland continue in August. The Rockies fall 6-4. Bauer gets the win, Holland the loss. All right, Jimmy John's delivery of the game, Eric Hosmer, a no-doubter to right. The only question was, would it stay fair? His first career walk-off home run. Royals win it 6-4. From Kauffman Stadium, we go back to Denver. Here's Jenny.